Hello, and welcome to the Modern Romantic Podcast, where we celebrate and inspire romanticism through passionate people doing incredible things. Hi, I am so glad I'm not sick anymore and that I can be back on the podcast. Honestly, trying to record something made me sound like a demon spawn just a little bit. Hi, I'm Trey. That was a really long intro. I'm so sorry.
No, yeah, and you didn't. You sounded, I mean, scratchy a little bit, but definitely just as deep as maybe you could physically possibly get.
I really felt like I was speaking out of the basement of my vocal cords.
The basement.
I'm not kidding. Uh, and those lovely tones are from my excellent host of this podcast, Emily. Hi, Emily.
Hi, I am currently in alto. Thank you.
Emily, I am so excited to be speaking to the fantastic educator that we have on tonight, an artist, and the list of the credits that she has is incredible. So would you do us the favor of introducing her?
Yes, I have a good one.
Good.
I I try to. Today, we're thrilled to welcome a multi-talented artist, Edelweiss Vogel, onto the show. Hailing from the Philippines and now residing in the U.S., Edelweiss is an accomplished illustrator, freelance artist, and educator. Her creative journey spans diverse mediums from painting and digital media to conceptual garment design, using unconventional materials to make really cool avant-garde clothing, all of which she seamlessly intertwines into her illustrative work as well. So join us as we delve into the vibrant career and passion for art with Edelweiss Vogel. Welcome to the podcast.
Yay!
Thank you, and thank you for having me. This is my very first podcast interview.
Oh, well, welcome. I hope it's a positive experience for you. we're we're thrilled to have you though.
Thank you.
Um, Kind of kicking things off, I'm so excited because you're one of the first people from the Philippines that I've been able to speak with that I'm aware of. And I was so intrigued by your biography that you have on your website, particularly of how creative you were as a kid. And I forget how you put it. You said something about finding ways to improvise art and improvise toys. um,
Because I have five siblings, and um, I'm second to the eldest, so we share toys, and I just like to improvise them. I would I I would get a one or two dolls, and for clothing, I have to improvise and make them, and that's how I got started. I just like to improvise. I consider myself as a very spontaneous individual, and in the Philippines, it's we go outside, um, we get we make toys from found objects. I don't know how I did that, but we were having fun.
it sounds like it. And here I was like playing with like plastic figurines. I would so much rather have like found object toys. That sounds so cool.
It's never too late, Trey.
You know, you're right. Uh, what what's the coolest found toy that you remember making?
When I was a kid, I really like making a house. And inside the house, well, really not a house, it's a box. I would use cardboard boxes and leads, plastic lead, and I would make tables, like small table, like miniatures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I and I would rearrange them into like a not really a scene, but I have a little living room here, and then I have a dining room here, and that's how I just love making those, like a storytelling.
Yeah.
I Yeah.
Like a dollhouse, with.
Yes, because I did not have a dollhouse, and I guess it made me think of how to be innovative and really use materials that I can find like inside my bedroom. Because my mom won't let me, use the kitchen stuff. So whatever I can find, I would use. So yeah.
Is that where your artistic journey sort of began with being artistic with toys then? And where did it go from there? How did it grow for you?
So I also like to draw. I actually studied illustration. That's my concentration. But when I was a kid, I would just draw. And I remember I watched a lot of cartoons. My very first cartoons I watched was back in the 80s, and it's called Astro Boy.
Oh yeah.
I actually have a toy in my classroom. It's 20 something years old, Astro Boy, made by Bandai. Um, and it became, I just remember really loving that show. It was in the 80s. And then it's a Japanese film by Tezuka Osamu, um, and he was considered a grandfather of the Japanese cartoons. And being in the Philippines, it's really close to Japan. It's like three and a half hours away from where I'm from. And so part of our culture is really watching um, cartoons prime time. And I just love that I ended up drawing and drawing and drawing. Just like a normal kid. I would just draw Astro Boy. And from Astro Boy to more cartoons, whether it's Western. I remember Marvels like the X-Men back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I watched those. I love them. I love the. As a matter of fact, I really enjoy the 2D. The old school halftone, not 3D. I'm more interested in that. So that's how I got started. I would just draw characters because we didn't have internet back in the day. I collected trading cards. I collected comic book. I'm a little bit nerd,
I know, I love
but
that. We are too.
and that's how I got started. Really, just things that I love, from making those miniature um, inside of the house, maybe like the not maybe like an interior.
Oh yeah.
I'm fascinated with the space, with how every time I would like to play, I move stuff around. So I really like that. And then really just my childhood. It's I believe that it's my extension of my childhood. What I'm doing now, my love of art. It's it was my lifestyle
Yeah.
that I picked up, and I really think that um, in before I became a teacher, I I really think that art, you know, is a talent. And don't get me wrong, it is a talent, and we can argue whether it's a talent or a skill. But now that I am an educator, I also tell my students, my kids, that art is a skill set that you can actually learn.
Mm-hmm.
What it means, what it mean is, um, I teach middle school 6, 7, and 8 in international baccalaureate. So I see them from 6th grade to 7th grade to 8th grade because they are required to take fine arts, whether visual arts, theater, orchestra, band, chorus, and I see my um, sixth graders learn the basic and the foundation. And when they turn into 7th grade, I see the skills, I see their progress. And so now, and then when they turn to 8th grade, and I get to keep them for 1 year, I see more progress. I see more, um, when they become mature, their skill also gets better over time. So now, because now I tell myself, oh, it's not just a talent, it's also a skill, and a skill you can actually develop. You can learn how to draw if you want. You can learn how to paint if you want. And then from there, you take it along with you.
And that's something I've had to learn too. I think a lot of us do. Um, and that applies to many, I think, many different art forms. I used to think that there was a girl I used to work with who was way younger than me, and she was just brilliant at drawing. It was remarkable. Um, and I was always so impressed with her work. I thought, gosh, if you were just born with this amazing talent to draw. And I asked her once, how did you get this good? Because I didn't want to call her, I didn't want to make her feel bad, but it was like, you're just so young. How are you this good? And she was like, that's all I've been doing like my whole life. So she was like, you can do it too. And I was like, I don't know about that, but I do believe it. It's like Trey can probably attest to that with singing.
Hmm. It it takes a while. It with any skill, with any craft that you do, it takes a while. And sometimes we want to be at the finished product line, and what we don't always get to see is the pitfalls, and we don't always get to see like some of the struggles behind that. All we kind of really focus on is like, oh, you can sing really well, you can draw really well. So it takes time. So give yourself the space to grow and develop,
Mhm.
and like you were talking about, build those skill sets up incrementally until you get where you want to go.
That is so true. Um, I see it. I see it because I teach middle school. I see my sixth graders, seventh graders, eighth graders, and when they reach the eights, even for seven, like the next year, I know they're gonna be better. It's amazing. And have you heard of 10,000 bad drawings?
Yes.
Yeah, we draw a lot I used to draw a lot, and I'm still learning. I'm still learning. So, so yes, just practice. You can do it. If you want to learn how to draw realistically, you can start with if you think you're not good in drawing, just forget about that. You can start with gesture drawing. It's really and they said drawing is 50% skills, 50% observation. It's really about observation. When you learn how to see, then you'll be able to transfer it because it's really how lights behave. What if you simple shape. That's the art teacher.
Right.
And
Remember simple shape. Don't look at the whole picture. Don't look at the whole image because it's complicated. Find a simple shape. Start from there, and along the way there's perspective, there's shading technique, how you use the pencil, how you apply the pressure control. You can learn those things and be good at it.
Could tell she's an art teacher. But that's good advice. I mean, you could always start with Astro Boy and work your way
Yes.
from there.
Dragon Ball Z. I still have the DVD. Sixth season. I love watching. I still do. I still watch cartoons if I have spare time. Just just love them. It's made for, even though even like children's book, they're made for any age. For adults even.
I have a whole thing of anime right behind me. It's from one of my favorite series, Cardcaptor Sakura. Um, yeah, I'm I can't even think of the word. Yeah, I'm a nerd.
Speaking of nerds, I too am a nerd, and I got really excited because I think I saw forgive me if I'm wrong, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I want to say maybe more than a year ago now, you had a Facebook post that was you had done a drawing from Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah.
And I loved that so much. I remember it because it was something that stuck with me because I thought it was the one thing that I was so impressed with because I was like, wow, that's really good.
Oh yeah. That's probably Daenerys or Jon Snow.
Oh, maybe it
Uh,
was Game of Thrones, right? Okay.
yes, Game of Thrones. I would just draw Star Wars characters. I love Star Wars. Um, any anything, basically anything that I like, I will just draw. I will create something. It's more of a lifestyle to me, like art. Whether it's I'm making a sandcastle, I'm cooking, I'm sculpting, I'm making a dress. Speaking of a dress, my grandmother was a seamstress for one
Oh,
of the designers in the Philippines, and I actually watched her make dresses, and that's also I picked that. I She didn't teach me, but I just watched her, and I don't know. I As an artist, I really like to learn. I'm a lifelong learner. Oh, I want to learn that. Then do it, learn it, and then just practice. Then you can develop a skill, and before you know it, you're gonna be good at it. And that's what I tell my student. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. It
oh,
was a
that's
code.
good.
Somebody clip
And,
that, please.
and they always stop every time I say that, because they're middle schooler. They look at you sometimes and like, what? I have to do that? Yes, but don't worry. Remember, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And they would clap. And I have a student one time, she even wrote it down and she told the other teachers. So the other teachers told me, Miss Vogel, your class, your students told us about the code that you said. I said, oh no, that wasn't mine. Yeah, but you said it to the class, and they were very inspired. I said, oh, thank you.
It's a good one. I love it.
Uh,
Go
we
ahead,
do
Trey.
have a we do have a question here. If you could travel anywhere to get inspiration, where would you go?
Oh wow. I re maybe I would go back to the Philippines, because I left when I was 18,
Mhm.
and I feel like I know more about Western art than Filipino art. And so I would really like to get to know more about a different ethnicity or group within the Philippines, because we have
Hmm.
so many. I also noticing that with that, because now I like to incorporate my Filipino heritage, whether it's in clothing, whether it's in my illustration, my any type of art. I now go back and learn more, and I think I like that.
Yeah. And your recent image that is on the Pop Street Gallery, like you have billboards and your art is all over Charlotte, North Carolina right now. Um, Tell us about that piece that ended up everywhere and what that means to you.
Oh, okay. So there is an organization called Art Pop Street Gallery,
Okay.
and it is a nonprofit 501(c)(3). They help promote artists. So every year they would do a call for artists. So if you're an artist, you can submit your artwork with an artist statement, but you have to make it up to a specific size for billboard. And with me being an illustrator, I drew a vector based drawing. So it's a digital drawing that you can scale up to a billboard size. And so what I did was I have a I have an old project in college that I hand woven. So I use that. It's a headpiece that is a traditional headpiece from one of the group in the Philippines. So I put that. I use that and I put it in, as a head piece for a family member, and I took a photo. I drew it and I submitted the artwork to Art Pop. I submitted that a day before it was due, or the same day it was due, and um, I I am so blessed that I won the 2022 Art Pop. I'm one of the winners for the 2022 Art Pop art, and they made so if you win, they'll put your billboard all over Charlotte or surrounding areas. They also contacted an advertising company in the Philippines,
Oh,
and my artwork was actually featured there along EDSA. It's in Manila, 5 billboards. So I was very very happy.
wow.
Wow.
That's so exciting. Congratulations. And I'm so proud of you. That's so amazing.
Thank you. I wasn't. I've heard that a lot of artists applied. When I applied, there were almost 200 artists also with different backgrounds,
Hmm.
from painting to photography to illustration. By the way, I have my mini billboard
Oh,
here.
there it is. Okay. Oh, I'm so glad you can show that.
That's so
Yeah, this is what it looks.
cool.
So, for our listening audience, she's holding up like a. Can you hold that up one more time? It's like a miniature billboard version of her art on the Art Pop Street Gallery. And you can see that too on artpopstreetgallery.com. Um,
Correct.
very cool.
Thank
That's
you.
so cool. That's like the coolest kind of trophy thing to. That's neat. This little billboard. I love it.
So so it's an actual billboard off on they moved it twice off on I-77 exit 18 by North Lake.
Mm-hmm.
It was for a couple months, and then they moved it to the Speedway Boulevard Tryon
Okay, yeah.
in that area, and
It's by NASCAR there.
yes, and they took it. Actually, it was up for 1 year, and then they took it down, and they gave it to me this year, and I turned it into a wearable clothes for the upcycled fashion show. It's an annual fundraising event of Art Pop Street Gallery.
Okay, wow. So it's been art and is continually art in another form.
Yes, that is true. I like the idea that I can turn a two-dimensional piece, which is
Mm-hmm.
the vinyl billboard, into a three-dimensional wearable art. So I like that idea. So I made a dress. It's a commission project, and it is now in I forgot the name of the building. Um, but it's the same building as the Lending Tree Corporate Headquarters. So it's
Okay.
at the lobby. So you'll see the dress. The dress, it is available if you go to our Pop Street Gallery or my IG. You'll see the dress. It's inspired by Filipino traditional clothing with a butterfly sleeve, and I actually it's an ensemble. I made a hat or headgear that is used in farming it's really a head protector, but I made it into like more of a glamorous head covering. by putting beads and fringe, and you won't think about that. That's what farmers and fishermen wear.
Okay. It is it is beautiful, and you do beautiful work. You've done beautiful work with your recycled designs. And what a cool thing to recycle, but your own art. I love that. I don't know why I never thought of that before. That's so great. I'm so thrilled that that's what you did.
Thank you. I get more excitement when it's challenging.
Yeah.
It's the material is it's not fabric. It's really um, it, it's vinyl, so
Okay.
it's heavy. You can't really create a drapery. You can't really do that effect. I mean, I guess you can, but you have to treat the fabric, the vinyl with maybe a solution or
Yeah.
um,
It would be very stiff. So, yeah.
yes. I found out that I actually had to cut them. I cut them into smaller pieces, and then, well, first I made a pattern, and then I cut them so I don't waste the other vinyl billboard. And I actually wash them like a hand wash, and I hang them
Yeah.
and dry them outside. And the vinyl actually, it was I saw a lot of wrinkled, but after soaking it with water and drying it outside, it became a little bit softer, and then the wrinkle actually disappeared.
Oh, that's
disappeared.
good.
So, I learned. I was very happy that um, I'm seeing those.
Yeah.
I'm I'm learning that, oh, if you do this, if you heat it up, maybe use some blow. I also tried the blow dryer as well. Hot water really works.
Yeah. Was it hard
I
to
like that. I
sew? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
just the hot water from your sink.
Okay. Was it hard to sew through?
Um, Not really. Most of it I did by hand stitching,
Okay.
Oh my. I'm sorry.
especially
It's
narrow um, area.
yeah. I don't like hand sewing. That is like that is my one weakness is hand sewing.
Oh, can I tell you that in the Philippines, the reason why people think, oh, you're good in sewing, you're good in make, it's because of this. In the Philippines, fifth grade, we learn they teach us how to sew,
Okay.
What?
and they teach us how to weave, how to crochet. My brother can crochet. Fifth grade. We also did agriculture. I think they did that because or we're doing it. I'm hoping we're still doing it, because when I was there as a student, we were taught sewing, cooking, even agriculture. It's because by the time you're in high school, or not everybody can go to college, so that can be your trade. Because in the
Mhm.
Philippines, there's a
Yeah.
lot of factories over there. They make uh, everything there. Um, um, Victoria's Secret, made
Oh,
from the
yeah.
Philippines. Um, Trying to think. Um, Gap, Banana Republic.
Okay.
Those.
Yeah.
That's a yeah, I could see where and honestly, I think we should do that here still. I mean, we maybe not 5th grade, but I remember we had home ec in different classes to learn that
Oh,
sort of thing and
nice. Yes.
yeah.
Sewing. I really remember sewing in when I was in fifth grade, but freshman we were using sewing machine by the time we were freshmen. But fifth grade, sixth grade, it was hand sewing. It was just really simple. You can um, just repair your
Yeah.
clothes
Mhm.
instead of throwing it or
Right.
buying a new one.
There's so many like fun videos of people doing different things of patching up holes on sweaters and then doing these like intricate embroidery designs with it just to like help keep it intact, and then you make something completely brand new with it. And
Right.
I am so awestruck by some of the things that I see. Um, it's just incredible.
Yeah, you've done really cool work with what you've made with your own artwork. Oh, and the any of your uh I guess recycled designs. What other materials have you used then?
I used a um in the past I have used bamboo leaves and bamboo sticks. I did that. I also used soda tabs, paper, a bunch of papers. Right now, I'm actually working. Um, I'm using an actual fabric. There is a family event at the North Carolina Museum of Art. It's the special exhibition, the Golden Dutch, Golden Age of the Dutch exhibit. And they are going to have a family event this coming Saturday, and I'm actually going to be there. I am the teaching artist for the workshop.
Okay.
I'm also the artist in residence for the North Carolina Museum of Art Artist Innovation Program. And so
Awesome.
I'll be there Saturday. I made a clothing from the Dutch era. This time it's a real fabric,
Okay.
and
Ooh.
um, I'm
That'll be
gonna be there.
neat. So is that something that's open to the public or
It is
it is? Okay. So if you're in the Charlotte area, you can go.
Raleigh. Sorry, it's in
Oh,
Raleigh.
Raleigh. I'm sorry. Raleigh.
It's called North Carolina Museum of Arts.
Okay. Then you can
Um,
see Edelweiss's piece in person.
It's not
Um,
recycled.
What's that? I'm sorry.
It's not made from recycled materials.
Still,
That
it's
that I made.
still neat. Still art.
Yes.
um, Edelweiss, I know that you've had a lot of experience through a multitude of different mediums when it comes to art, be it physical medium, digital art, digital media. Um, One thing that's come up quite a bit is the use of AI with art. And I know it's kind of a hot button issue, but what I'm interested in is where do you see its place in the future of art?
Oh, honestly, don't um, I don't really like the AI.
Mhm.
It's, but also I feel like I still don't know. I mean, I know how it works, but I know a lot of people use it for their social media. They change their avatar and they look like them
Mhm.
because of AI. Um, I I don't know. I don't like the AI. I do digital media, but I still draw it.
Mhm.
I draw every shape, every line. Um, with the I don't even know who made those. I mean, I know it's computer generated, but they took it from somebody, and they just, I guess, collage it or filter. Um, but but also but also it's the same as photography back in the day, and then the digital media back in the day. Because I'm pretty sure when Photoshop was introduced, a lot of artists were also disappointed
Yeah.
with the you know with the Photoshop's ability to manipulate images.
Mhm.
But then again, it's a hard. I never thought about it. I haven't really think about the future of AI. I know that I don't know if I like it. I mean, it's fun to look at, but I don't know. I like the um, traditional way of creating art. Because you just imagine that. It's scary, very scary.
Yeah, we're at a strange time in AI art where we're kind of at that place where there's starting to be legislation and starting to be things like lawsuits. We've heard from authors that say their books were on lists of that were fed into AI computers to use as material to be intelligent. And there have been things like lawsuits relating to that. So I think.
I think I'm losing my signal.
Oh,
Oh,
I do see that your signal is low.
I think I just lost my signal.
Okay, we can still hear and see you. It looks
Okay.
good to me.
yeah, looks good to me as well.
So, can you hear us okay?
Yes.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. Let me know if you have any more issues with that and we'll pause for a second.
Um,
Yeah,
oh,
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
One comment from our chat. It sounds like you are concerned about it. The acknowledgement of the actual artist whose images are being used.
Yes, that is true. Um, like we don't know. It's scary where they're getting those images, right?
Mhm.
And as an artist, that's scary. It's I used to work. I used to work as a patent illustrator. So I'm talking about. So I work with intellectual property. I help protect those invention, whether it's a cutting board or a simple, trying to think the silliest thing I drew for patent, a meat cutter. It's even those, even how it functions, you have to protect that. It's an idea.
Mhm.
I remember one of my professors gave me an advice when I was in college. He said, you don't get paid by your work, you get paid by your ideas. So and then it really, I had to really think about it. Okay, what do you mean you don't get paid by your work? If you're an artist, you work, right? You put you use your hands, but then also creative ideas that must be protected. So
Mhm.
I have a have a have background um, in patent design. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really I really think it's very very important to protect
Yeah.
the work of an artist, creative individuals,
Right.
intellectual property. I believe in that
Yeah,
really.
I do too.
I and I didn't mean to. If the question was off-putting, I'm sorry, but it was. You had talked a lot about like the development of skill and that sort of thing, and um, I agree that it's intriguing, but I also want to say that AI should not detract from the learning of the skill and the learning of the art. To make sure that we're using it to, if we're wanting a different perspective, I can see it as like maybe a frame of reference for something, but not to claim it as your own creation and not to discount your learning of a new skill or your learning of the art. Um, just more, I see it more as like potentially a form of inspiration, but not something to copy, if that's clear.
Right. I you know how you can, so basically, um it's a really nice options or like reference photo
Yeah.
that you can use. But that because even for my students, I asked them. They said I always tell them to go online and look for reference photo, because if we have a project like right now we're doing still life,
Mhm.
and I want them to, if they don't want to draw from observation, I recommend to go online. Don't draw from your imagination, because you're a student. You have to look for reference photo. So
Mhm.
AI is good maybe for that, but definitely not for like final piece. But then
Mhm.
you can also argue. Oh, by the way, in art, there's no right or wrong answer. I always tell my students, you can argue, because that's like my favorite line. Well, because you have two different opinions, and I always say, well, you can argue that with the AI, you also command, right? Don't you write a command or say, like
Mhm.
type like Apple with such and such, and then image will be generated, and then you have an image.
Mhm.
So is that a form? Is that work because you put your thoughts into it? Red apple with such and such. Um, is that an idea?
That's hard to say because I don't know if you've ever typed anything into an AI art or an AI um, program. It sometimes has a mind of its own to some degree where it thinks it understood you and it created something that. Because really, it's just drawing on what it knows, just like any computer doing any other command.
Mhm.
It just has maybe a lot more specific information based on art that has been plugged into it. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but I feel like if you're telling it, okay, I want an image of Edelweiss accepting an award that is a trophy um, shaped like a little billboard, and I want it to be for the best artist on earth, and then it can create that, but um, like technically that idea was mine, but it had to know what a billboard was, and it had to know what a trophy was, and it had to know certain things already to be able to spit out that image. I don't know. I feel like that's a whole. There are probably whole podcasts dedicated to that, and I am just not knowledgeable enough to talk much
Same.
on it. But
Yeah, I thought NFT would be like I mean, I know I'm sure it's still going on, the NFTs, but
oh yeah,
I thought that's it. I thought there would be eight, and then here comes the AI, and then so what's gonna be next?
I think something will always be next, but I appreciate your thoughts on that, and I'm very happy, and I'm like, for me personally, I'm very happy that we're wanting to recognize the people that are creating the art behind it, that we're wanting to protect those IPs behind it. Um, but I really appreciate your thoughts. Um, in in terms of like looking at your own art and your own sources of inspiration, uh, you have created many different types of what have been described as like avant-garde dresses. And I've heard the term used in a variety of different ways. How would you describe avant-garde?
Oh, well, I know it's a French word, and it's forward thinking. And in art history, there was also a movement. Um, Avant-garde is, for me, it's it's the here's the Baroque period, and then here's avant-garde. It's like a mashup of everything. So pretty much something that is innovative, something that's probably new, Avant-garde is maybe something that it's kind of hard to say that no one has thought about, but because, well, also, I'm just gonna insert this. One of my professors also told me in the past, if they say, oh, it's out there already, I've seen it. Um, they told me that this is what you tell them. You tell them, no, it's not out there yet because you haven't seen mine yet. That's the answer. So I like that mentality. So to me, that's kind of avant-garde. The ideas that are not out there yet, even though you may think everything is out there yet, out there already, right? Does it make sense? So so it's a forward thinking. It's for example, making a dress made from bamboo leaves, which is hard, by the way. But then, but then you're like, how in the world am I going to make a dress out of bamboo leaves? So, well, first I have to collect them, and then I have to know where I can find them, and then how to put them together, and how is it going to react with glue or needle? Is it going to break? So it's a little bit about the process and um, I don't want to use the word unique. Maybe spontaneous,
And innovative.
innovative. Yes, you
Yeah.
just very intuitive. You don't think about it. You just art is also very intuitive. It comes to you.
One thing that makes yours different, though, because we've seen in the world many different avant-garde garments and different and interesting pieces, but not many of them are actually wearable to be able to walk down a runway or for someone to actually be able to put it on their body and feel comfortable being able to walk in it and be photographed in it. So that's one thing that sets what you've done apart. So you go through a process too that is not just creating a garment that is out of something interesting and of an interesting design and concept, but it also has to fit a human being.
Correct. Don't forget that there's a person inside the dress.
Mm-hmm.
That's what my grandma would say. The mannequin is not a real person.
Right.
Doesn't move. So so I will try it first. Like, can I move?
Right.
uh, so I always think about that. But it's I also like to think of what are people going to make. Because if they're going to make that, then I'm not gonna make it. I have a group of students who are getting ready to compete to scholastics. We've never won before, so I'm hoping we will win this year. We received the third place in Western Regional, but not we didn't make it to the state. Like my first year of teaching,
Mm-hmm.
but so they gave us prompt, and we had to follow the prompt, the theme, and not now this year it has a poetry that we have to read and interpret, and we make the art from that poetry. And I asked my students to read it. What do you think about it? And first thing they do is they go online, and it's fine. And they said, oh, this is the idea because this is what it means online. And I said, okay, so the question is, how are you going to be different from them? Because the other contestant, this is what they're going to be doing, okay? Because this is what you guys just did. So now I want you to think of what are you going to do differently. You can still use the same idea, but if it's a fruit, then what are they going to be making? Is it
Right.
apple? Is it something very familiar? How about, create something maybe not familiar, but relate to the theme or the
Mhm.
prompt. I don't know. I like the. I don't. I always like to be a little bit different, and again, it goes back with my childhood. We used to in our school in the Philippines. We used to dance. They teach us, the traditional dances in the Philippines, and you have to, of course, you have to wear traditional dresses. And I remember going to a fabric store, and my dress, instead of a floral red and pink or yellow bright colors, mine would be like a plaid black and white, totally different. And I think I've always liked that. And my aunt, because my grandmother, she was older during the time, so I would call my aunt. I didn't want to buy ready made traditional Filipino dress. I would call her. I need your help, auntie. I need, we're performing. The whole school is performing, and I need to wear this Filipino dress. Um, and so she would come to our house with her sewing machine, or my grandma's sewing machine, which we inherited. It's the old school sewing machine.
Love it.
So I used to do that, and I remember going to the market and just getting a fabric, but my fabric would be a total opposite. And that's what I do. I do the total opposite.
I
And I
love
guess
it.
it's so unique. You do the total opposite and there. Simple, right? You want to be unique? Do the opposite.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, don't copy.
Yes,
Be true to
exactly.
yourself. Right.
Right. And then, so just I'm just picturing it. I didn't have any photographs, but I can just imagine, they were dancing with flowers and all pink and yellow and red and bright green. And then I have this one girl who's like plaid and black and white. Like, and then there I'm different. But I did that. I did that.
That takes some courage to do though. I feel like there at least like I've always there are things I've always wanted to be different at, doing something like that. I want to be different, but also that calls some attention to yourself that some people try to avoid. Did you have a hard time with that too, or did you just not care?
No, I just didn't. I guess I just didn't care. I just remember in the Philippines we would my secondary school, we had to wear uniforms,
Mm,
and wearing a what we call civilian outfit, not uniform, anything about but uniform, is almost like a kind of like a special treat for a middle school or elementary student. So I hated going to school, or not hated. I did not like going to school with a special function, not wearing a uniform, and seeing another schoolmate wearing the same clothes. I did not like that at
yeah.
all. So that's kind of like my thing. Like, she's wearing the same.
Right.
she's wearing the same. She's wearing the same dress I'm wearing. Maybe because I grew up with my grandparents making us clothes, and it's just, and me picking fabric that are that are so different. Not really unique, just different. I guess turned me into a different person. But I know I'm always. I guess that's a good thing about. I guess it's a good thing about me. I carry that.
Yeah.
Um,
I love it.
Yeah.
being
And
bold, I guess. I don't do it nowadays, by the way. But I also remember there was a school pageant there was a school pageant, and you have to. It's a United Nation, Miss United Nation,
Okay.
right? And you have to represent a country. And I remember my mom told me, you don't join because I my mom said, no, if you're going to join, I have to tell you, it's a lot. You have to provide your costume, your, I don't know, your dance number, your talent show. And me being the second to the eldest, and I have small or younger siblings, my parents really focus on them. So I told her, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about the costume. I was very, I was just very optimistic, and um, I said, don't worry about it. I can make. I was 13, and I made my own costume in a pageant. I
That's
couldn't remember
wonderful.
what I look
It's
like.
incredible.
I turn around and I see the students. They have their parents with them. They have this elaborate costume, really nice gown, and my gown. I just made it. I just made my gown. To be fair, I won first runner up, and I also won Miss Talent. I was Miss Egypt. So, and this was before internet, so I was reading books. Like what's the Egyptian costume? Okay,
That's
right.
amazing.
That's
Fabrics. I have foil, like golden foil. It was probably bad because I was 13.
I
I
mean,
didn't care. I guess that's a really good, tip or a mentality. If you want to be an artist, just don't worry about them.
yeah. No, that's good advice in general for
You're so
art.
conscious. Same thing with drawing. Students are so conscious. My first practice is actually blind contour. It's a really great practice where you don't look at your paper. You put a hole on your paper with a pencil like this.
Okay.
You put your hand, you cover your hand basically, and you look at your subject and you just draw. And it's a good exercise for your mind and hand or body coordination. Because we're so
Hmm.
conscious of what our drawing is going to look like because we're always looking.
Yeah.
So why not just don't look? Just look at the shape, look at every details, every lines, every curve, and then yeah. So it's a good practice.
Wow. I like
that,
that. That's good advice.
Good lesson. It's a really good, really fun activity. Blind drawing. It's not new. It's not a new technique. It's an old technique that artists would be doing to really help them. And another one is you do an upside down drawing. Picasso did that, where you
I've
turn
heard
the
of
image
that.
upside.
Yeah.
So because once again we're very conscious, and it's a human nature. We're really conscious of what it's gonna look like at the end. Well,
Right.
how about the process? Process is just as important as the final product. So
I
yeah.
remember being in art class. I did art one with Miss French, and Miss French, if you're listening, hi, thanks for listening. Um, she was such an incredible art teacher in the way that she would like, in the way that she just kind of very much like you loved the concept of learning. You want to learn about this? Great, let's do it. Let's find a way to do it. And I remember talking to her when I got into my junior year and I was looking ahead to what I wanted my concentration for the international baccalaureate program to be. Um, and she was willing to work with me as like to do case studies in art for me to be able to move up and do the senior level art 4 or 5 whatever we had at the time, but for me to use that time not as to say I'm a professional artist, but to use that time to learn how to grow that skill set. And I remember looking at things like impressionism, and we did a study of aquatic animals that we had to shade using just dots of black ink, and we had to like shade the entire animal doing that entire thing. And I chose like an angelfish. It was just, she was such a cool person for how she taught art. And so hearing you talk about these things and the way that you describe different activities, it takes me back to a very fond place. So I really appreciate that.
Oh, it's really it's amazing to I get to work with kids because I just see myself with them. This is how I was when I was a kid, just learning, and really you just develop. Just like your sports, the same thing. You want to be good at good in basketball. Well, you have to practice. Want to be good in singing. Well, like you need to start practicing now.
Right.
Same thing with art. It's really I tell them, if you give me 5 minutes to draw, I'll give you 5 minutes drawing, because I have students who always tell me, I'm done. And I said, okay, well, I don't grade based on how good you can draw. I grade based on your effort. If you give me 5 minutes of drawing time, I'll give you my 5 minute drawing. You give me 1 hour drawing, I'll give you a 1 hour drawing. So it's really the time and effort.
And that's the kind of teaching that I latch onto and appreciate personally, is that level of dedication and that mentality shift of like, it's not the quickness of that, it's the level of effort that you put into something. And that's what I'm so happy to see you put into your kids, or to teach to your kids. And I hope that many of them are listening right now to that, and really take that to heart.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah. This is my third year of teaching. I'm actually a new teacher. I I was working prior to teaching. I was working as a patent illustrator, and then I had to go back to school, get my graduate certificate,
Mhm.
and here comes pandemic. But I did my student teaching during pandemic, and I finished it.
So awesome. Um, I do want to ask, how has being an educator impacted you as an artist?
I have to say that I first of all I really enjoy teaching. It's I don't feel like I'm working, unless I'm grading. But when I write, because we're still required, or giving quiz, giving tests. But I I I learn from them. You would think that I know how to I know how to paint. You would think I know how to draw, but I really learn from I still learn from them, and I like that. I like that I'm growing. Um, yeah, I feel like I'm a better artist now, uh, because I am teaching. I now work with ceramic. I've done ceramic maybe one
Ooh.
class when I was an undergrad student, and that was it. But now I get to fire the clay. I get to I take care of that. I order the clay. I organize my stuff. I have to make sure everything is coordinated. We're doing an exhibit. Um, we're competing in a show. So it made me it made me it made me more. I'm not so good. It made me a better artist. I'm trying to choose a correct word. It made me a better artist. I think it's because of the students. Because I see their dedication. Their ideas. Sometimes it's like, are you sure you want to do that? But you go along. Are you sure? Are you really sure? But then you think about it. Oh, what if, right? And because as an adult, sometimes if there's you have a set of rules, so you're kind of controlled. But then when you with them, it's like free spirit. Oh no, Miss Vogel, I want to do this. And then there's more. There's more to that. It's not just teaching the middle schooler. I get it's not it's not just the fun of it. It's really interacting with them. Their ideas um, are limitless. You think like a kid. Pablo. Pablo Picasso also made a quote, and he also said how it's hard to draw like if I were to draw when I was a kid, if I have to force myself to draw as a kid, now I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know how to do that, right? Because our
Mhm.
brain now is wired to, because we learn, we know the specific things. So to undo those, it's really hard. And with them, not setting a rule, you're kind of um, there's no pressure. You can just really experiment. And I like how student experiment.
Mhm.
And now it's making me more. I experiment more as well. Um,
That's awesome. I feel like we could all use a little bit more childlike mind in our
yes,
artistic endeavors. Because the
right.
sky's the limit to a kid. They don't think in those limitations and in those rules, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like as adults we could use a little bit more of that. And I think it's awesome that you get to experience that in like your everyday life, being around kids.
Right. It's just I really didn't plan to become an educator.
Yeah.
Like what I said, I'm very spontaneous. So, oh, what if I mentored a lot of students in the past. So I just thought, what if I become a teacher? Art teacher, of course. And I said, I think I'll be good at it. And so I'm really, really enjoying my my vocation. My vocation. I have friends in the past when I told them that I'm going back to school because I wanted to become a teacher. I have friends who told me, "No, become a teacher when you retire, when you're older." And I said, "Well, I don't, that's not a good idea. How am I going to have energy or imagine?" They told me it's when you're about to retire, and I said, "No, I think I want to do it now." you know, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just excited of everyday lessons. I'm learning more. Like what I said. Now that I'm an educator, I'm more. I had to make sure I know what I'm talking about first of all, right? Because they question you.
They do. Yeah.
They do like it's just yeah. So
I substitute taught for 4 months, and every time I got to middle school, oh, that is the truth. They will question you on everything. But we have Wendy from Facebook who says, your students are lucky to have you, and vice versa.
oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm just it's an honor to become an educator. I really think it's important to teach art, because it's I when I first before my student teaching actually I didn't know that art is a um, not a core class. Enhancement. I was thinking of a word, enhancement,
Mm-hmm.
because I just didn't think it's going to be an enhancement. So I said, "Oh, what do you mean enhancement? Oh, they have a core classes, and the art is going to be um, a short week." And that's when I student taught. I think it was 9 weeks. 9 weeks, and then you don't see them every day, and you don't see them every day. And I said, "Oh, really?" Yeah. So because when before I became a teacher, I was creating patent. I was protecting intellectual property by drawing. So I really think of art as a very important class that students should take, because it's they need that, especially with the digital age, um, this day and age, and it's just instant gratification.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is. That's true. And another comment from our chat is that art is essential to life.
Yes,
correct.
100%.
Hmm. It's just, I wish that all school would require art as a core class, because you can have an interdisciplinary unit with a science teacher, a math teacher. I hope they really see that, um, because we learn things from the past through art. The painting, the photograph, even before photographs. Before we learned how to write, we were drawing.
Yep.
So
Well,
that's how
and
we're very visual, as well as a
right.
human being.
And a lot of art is also science.
Mhm.
I had this really cool experience over the weekend where I was at a pop-up shop, and I was selling some of my glass fusion pieces. And one of the things that I was selling were these little glass well, it's necklaces, but these glass pendants. And there was a little girl that came up to my table, and she fell in love with one of them, and her mother was going to buy it for her. And the the glass in it was something that I had done. So it wasn't just glass. I had taken copper oxide and put it in with the glass. What copper oxide does in glass is that it turns blue and it creates bubbles on purpose. So
Oh,
you could
wow.
take clear glass and put copper oxide in it, and when you fire it, I think it was 1450 degrees or something that I used. When you fire it that hot, it turns blue and gets bubbles without having to add pigment or anything else. And it's really neat looking. And so this piece happened to have that in it. And so I thought, well, I'm going to use this moment to tell the little girl about how this is art and science. And I told her about how I made it, because I thought that will make it more special to her, because it made it more special to me. And she said, when she, after she bought it, she went up to one of her other family members at this art fair and ran up and she said, "Look what I got. Look what I got. It's art and science." And then
Thanks.
she told them all about what I had told her, and I thought that was so cool. So, yeah, I loved that moment.
Um, wow, amazing. So you're now doing um, glassware, Emily?
Yeah, I'm new to
Mhm.
that. I'm making some glass fusion specifically. I've done stained glass in the past, but I
That's
don't love
interesting.
this. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's very interesting. I've always wanted to do that.
It's so fun. It's so
Right?
fun. I feel like it takes a lot less patience than stained glass. Um, Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel that for me, like
Mm.
it takes less time. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. But anyway, I just feel like it's more my speed. But it's so fun. You should try it. I recommend it
And,
for anybody.
and I actually own one of her pieces. And
Yeah.
I didn't, so I bid on it and I won it. So I now own an Emily Kramer original.
It was part of an art auction. I didn't expect him to get it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. So I do that in photography now. Edelweiss and I know each other through making recycled designs together for fashion shows. Through it was Upper Carolina, I think, is how we met.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Wow. Um, I was just thinking about it. The show we did together with other artists as well in Charlotte. Um, that was in that was in 2017, I believe.
was it the Paper Dreams one? There was the Paper Dreams one at the Mint Museum.
We were together. That's the other one, not the Mint Museum. the Beckler Museum. I think
Oh, maybe that was it.
that, yes.
You're probably right. I probably messed that up. It's on the opposite side of the street or something, isn't it?
Yes.
That was, yeah, sorry. And then Charlotte Fashion Week. Yes? Did you do Charlotte Fashion
Yes,
Week?
I did that. I did about 3 shows with them, 2 or 3 shows. Um, I got into that because I was a student during that time, and I um I picked up a, I don't remember, but I contacted Flavia. She's one of the designers, and oh no, somebody told me about her, and she also lived in the same area where I live, and so I just contacted her, and I said, "Oh, I've heard you're going to, I've heard you're going to be designing for Charlotte Fashion Week." This was in 2010, and
Oh,
yes, and I said, "Oh, my name is such and such. My name is Edelweiss. I am an art student getting ready to graduate. Please let me know if you need a like an apprentice or an assistant. I can help you with sewing or cutting or anything." And that's how I got to I got involved with Charlotte Fashion Week, and then so I helped her, and then the next year I was able to make my own piece for the show. But
were you the one that did the? Was that the bamboo one that you did? That did it have a parasol?
yes, the parasol that has no, so it's parasol with no cover.
But that was you. I remember that piece.
Yeah,
I remember that because I don't think I really knew you then, but I remember that dress
yeah,
and I remember being so impressed by it. But you like won that year, didn't you?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
That
That's the
was
best.
I'm yeah. I was I admit because I'm a little competitive. I was disappointed that I won, but I loved that yours won, to be honest. It was really a nice one and I have a great appreciation for it. Also, that was so much work.
Yes, I like to make a design, and then at the end it's a little bit, or maybe a totally different, but that's how I always, the process is just like a learning experience, and it just changed over time. And also that time, I when I was in college at UNC Charlotte, I submitted a proposal to my professors. I wanted to have a an inter cross disciplinary. So I made my own course,
Wow.
and so that's one of my course. Um, I I was studying Art Deco.
Okay.
Um, so I said, "Ooh, what if I make a dress?" So it was part of my project too at the same time for
That's
school.
awesome. Yeah,
Um,
that was a really cool one. And that was like cuz that would that have been 2011 or 2012 right in there?
2012, I think.
Okay. I think
2012.
that was the same year I started doing recycled designs too cuz that first year I made a dress that was all plastic that was repurposed from the fashion industry because there's a huge amount of waste in the fashion industry
Mhm.
and it was plastic from a major company and that they put over their clothes to ship them. And so I reused a bunch of that plastic. So it was kind of a Marie Antoinette style dress, very large. Um, it was extremely large, and I made it light up. And the model had a little switch in her pocket to turn the lights on, but the runway lights were so bright that you couldn't see. So she turned the switch on, and you almost couldn't tell it lit up at all. But it
Oh,
was fun to make. Hmm?
yeah, I have to check that. I was so tired. I wasn't. I didn't really watch. I was just at the back.
Sure. Yeah.
hungry and thirsty. You know how it goes at the backstage, right? so so yes, the model was wearing a 15-pound headpiece, and so
Wow.
I was I was helping her taking it out, putting it back on. And he's like, "Hey, are we going? Are we?" Because she's tired. I'm tired.
It's,
But,
that's weird that people probably don't know that, but fashion show events afterward, it's like I've never been so tired in my life. I don't,
right?
yeah, what is that? I don't even know.
It's I was exhausted. I was hungry. I was thirsty. I didn't know what's going on. I was just at the back.
Right.
Time.
Right. Don't know why.
I didn't see the show, you know. So I also, I don't know. I feel like every time I do it, I wasn't really having fun because for me, I really want to see others work, you know. And I don't think I got to see it when, or for the most part, when I'm one of the designer, I'll just get stuck at the back, you know.
Yeah, it's not the same as being able to be up front. What were you
You
going to
can,
say, Trey?
Oh, just that I remember you talking about some of those fashion shows and just coming back and just being like, oh my God, I am so tired. And you would, anyway, long story short, yes, you would talk about those fashion shows with the most delight of, oh my God, getting to see this run down the runway, but also my feet are killing me. I want to soak them in Epsom salt.
We'd go to Waffle House afterward, and it'd be like I was falling asleep eating my food because it was so. I don't. There's something about it. I don't know if it's the energy and the stress and the culmination of all your work right there. All the backstage is so crowded and so smelly with hairspray and
those time were my those were my first well, not my first time, but my first 2 3 years of fashion show. You know, I was still, you know, new. I didn't have a boutique. I was a student. I
mhm.
was just doing my project that I proposed because I wanted to have my own course. So so yeah, but I learned a lot. You know, it's nice to call it. I would call it like a productive struggle,
Yeah,
because when you struggle, that's when you learn.
yeah, it's relatable.
But I think within that, even in a productive struggle, it's some of the most effective learning. It's
Yeah.
learning with intention. Um, and I saw a post on Facebook recently, and I shared it. Um, and I forgot how wise this was. And it's from the Magic School Bus of all places. How just universal it is. If at first you don't succeed, find out why.
Mm.
Oh,
And it's not, and it subverts like that. Just try again. It's learn what mistakes you made and then do something different to overcome that,
wow.
um, versus just trying again the same way. And I thought for something that is, I don't know, almost 25 years old at this point, if I'm getting my dates right, that is some of the wisest information I've heard. And I don't know why. But thinking to the things that you've said tonight on the podcast, what are you going to do differently? How can you think about this in a different way? What kind of skill set are you learning? What's your goal with learning art? I think having an educator like you and somebody to look up to with your Billboard trophy, I'm calling that a trophy at this point, is such a joy to have. I am so envious of your students that get to learn from you. So seriously, if you are listening to Miss Vogel right now, I'm sure they don't call you Edelweiss, but I'm sure if you're listening to Miss Vogel right now, I really want you to take in what she's saying, listen to the inspiration that she has for you, and whatever she's telling you, it really does mean something. So give her your full attention, learn as much as you can, soak up that beautiful knowledge, and I wish you the best with art. But to you, Miss Vogel, I say it has been a pleasure listening to how enthusiastic you talk about art. You are really a one-of-a-kind educator. So I am so happy to get this opportunity to speak with you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. And I really just want to keep that, enthusiasm and fire because I talked to some art teachers and they're very exhausted. Some of them. And I was looking at, I mean, it's not that I'm a new teacher. I mean, I've been only teaching for 3 years. I'm actually considered as a beginning teacher. After 3 years, then you're passed with your beginning BT, what they will call. But I just wanna keep that enthusiasm. I guess as a teaching artist, because I am a teaching artist. I think that's going to keep the light. So I call it light, or is it fire?
It's
And
both.
We get it.
then,
Yeah.
you just need to make it fun to the kids. Fun learning at the same time. So hopefully, but thank you so much for having me. This is my very first podcast. We will sure be. I will be sharing this to my family, friends, even my school.
Yay!
That's wonderful. Thank you.
And just to make sure that our listening audience can interact with you and find out where to find your art, I know we have your website as edelweissvogel.com, but where else can our listening audience interact with you?
I do have an Instagram. It's my first name, but I'm actually using I think it's my maiden name. I really wanted to keep my maiden name because with Vogel, I they might think I'm not a Filipino, but with my German name, my German last name. So I wanted to keep that because people know me as Edelweiss de Guzman. So it's my first name and then de Guzman art. That's my IG handle.
Yes. It's
Perfect.
Edelweiss underscore DE underscore Guzman underscore art.
Yes.
But if you just type it into the Instagram search, you'll find her.
Well, Edelweiss, I am so excited um, to have you. Thank you for being on. As we close out this episode here, this episode, along with probably every episode forever and ever and ever, is dedicated to Joe Capone, our moderator, fellow comedian, greatly missed friend. You can find us pretty much wherever you tune into podcasts. For updates, announcements, and more, please follow us on social media under Modern Romantic. Thank you, everybody, and have a beautiful day.
And don't forget to what was it? I forgot. It was it was about what your quote about being great.
Oh, you don't have to start. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.
Perfect.
That's from Zig Ziglar. It always work, I promise. I mean, at least I'm a middle schooler.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you, everyone.
Bye, Trey. Thank
Bye.
you.